Hello, everyone. Welcome to Growing Together, a gardening podcast with me, John Lamb, and Don Kinsler, a lifelong gardener and the North Dakota State University Extension horticulturist for Cass County. Don, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I love it when we do remotes, John. And I'm loving because the remote that we're in right now, the aroma of fresh flowers, fresh greens, I love it.
Yeah, so let's introduce our guests. We're sitting here with Kelly Krenzel from Hope Blooms. We're here in North Fargo in your space here. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to be here because like Don was saying, it's nice to get out of the studio and it's nice to get out and obviously talk to people. And Hope Blooms is a relatively new operation. So tell us a little bit about what Hope Blooms is.
Yes. So I like to say we are still in the infancy of our nonprofit, although we're 8.5 years old, if you can believe that.
That does surprise me. I didn't realize they were that old.
But like anything that starts, just like the little seed that starts at a very, very, the maturity takes a while, right? So we are a nonprofit here in Fargo, and our whole mission is to spread joy and create community through the tangible gift of flowers. So we take flowers that are donated throughout our entire community from various places, which we can, certainly delve into later. And we give them new life. We take them apart and take the pieces that are usable, and then we create bedside bouquets and then deliver those out to our community members in need, all with one message: you matter.
So when you say like community members in need, like a little bit more specific there, are we talking about like maybe retirement communities? Are we talking about, where are we talking about, schools? Or? Yeah.
So really really what we're trying to address through our mission at Hope Blooms is isolation, loneliness, individuals facing hardship. And so those, we have about 100 different established partnerships throughout our community here. About half of who we serve are our seniors living in assisted living communities, different care settings, memory care, transitional care, rehabilitation. And then we partner. A lot of people don't know that we actually partner with a fair amount of other charities who are serving individuals in our community who have been identified as just needing a little extra support. So our mission really focuses on that emotional well-being piece and social well-being. And so what does it look like when your community shows up for you beyond your basic needs, right?
Right.
So in our hierarchy of needs, we have safety and our basic needs and our sense of belonging. And that's where I believe that Hope Blooms serves best, is being able to just approach people and say, we see you, we care about you, and you matter just as you are. And so we go into partner with many other nonprofits, all of our recovery centers. We partner with our local mental health hospitals. We partner with our cancer centers, Ronald McDonald House, our shelters housing women, and just say, we see you. And what a gift. I mean, it's so small, but what a gift that kind of unfolds from that opportunity and its opportunity.
Oh, and what a great way to bring joy. Fresh flowers, live, fresh flowers. I mean, here, you've put me in a whole new place just being in here, the aroma and seeing things. It is. What a wonderful way to bring joy and spread joy.
And we talk about this on the show that, most of the time we're talking about getting out into our gardens and just what the garden brings to us as like to have a place that you can go out and you can see those colors, you can experience those things. But for people who maybe don't have a garden, and also year round, because here we are, let's say we're talking days before Christmas, and we're in a cold snap right now. Yeah. And there's no gardens here. No. But you're able to bring people flowers and color, and again, those senses, the feels and the smells of that, the aromas. Yeah. That's really a great thing.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. It's the physical, it's that physical presence of the flower. We really believe that flowers really are the ultimate symbol of love, right? And they communicate sometimes a message that words cannot, right? They're also our common denominator, our thing that we can connect over. So our flowers are magical for all of the good health benefits they bring. They lower your blood pressure, reduce your anxiety, improve your cognitive performance. but also they are that thing that we can connect over. And, they are also the keeper of memories. So it's the reason I have to visit someone that I have not met before, right? To knock on her door.
It's the universal language.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Worldwide flowers.
So when we're going into a senior living community and we're knocking on, Gladys's door and we say, "Hi, Gladys, how are you? We're just here to make your day." Something sometimes, and we get this all the time where something in the bouquet itself is a triggering memory, right? Where it's the thing we can talk to that makes it okay to just say, "How are you doing today?" And Gladys invites us in and shows us her embroidery or her diamond dots. Those are very popular right now. Or, shows us pictures of people that she loves on her walls, or sometimes she just wants to say, "You know what? I've had a really hard day." And we can offer a smile, a hug, hold someone's hand.
Well, how do you know where to go?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you find the Gladyses and the people in our community that could use an uplift? How do you go about that?
That is a great question. So we do all of our programming through those established partnerships that I mentioned earlier. And so depending on the size of the place that we're going, so if we're going over to Mapleview Memory Care in Fargo, there's about, 50 individuals that live there. We have a bouquet for everyone every single time. Now, if we're going to one of our larger senior living communities, we may have 250 bouquets, and then we start delivering on a different floor every time. So our goal through every delivery is to have one for every person every time we can, right? And then be able to, we go and serve those places 6 to 8 times a year.
Nice. So you have kind of repeat places, ongoing.
Yep.
Do you also have just one, if someone happens to be in the hospital or have special needs, or is it mostly
through those established
repeat?
Partnerships? Yep.
Oh,
so
sure.
we aren't able to, have people call and request a delivery for someone. And I think the magic in our mission is being able to go to people we don't know, right? And so not to have someone say, "I want my aunt isn't feeling good. I'd love to pick up flowers." We don't intend to be competition for our local florists, but like being able to serve from the space of that random acts of kindness and be able to exercise that kindness muscle to people we don't know.
That's a wonderful point, that you're not in competition with the florists that are
right.
doing that as a retail business.
Yes.
So this is totally supplemental to that.
Exactly. And it's meant, right? It's meant to be like the flowers are magical and we call them our superpower, but the magic and true value in our mission is the connections that we are able to create, and that sense of community and belonging we're able to weave in through the visit. So we bring a whole team of volunteers with us when we go and do that. So like we were out this morning delivering and we had 10 volunteers or something along those lines with us. And we are able to usher those volunteers through that experience, because it is uncomfortable talking to someone you don't know. But right, like that, we believe that those small moments of joy and belonging that we can create for people in our community, like it is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more you start to incorporate these small things in your life, like opening the door for someone who's coming behind you, simply looking at someone and smiling. It kind of is infectious, right? And that's what we're hoping to do.
I bet this is rewarding for the volunteers.
Yeah.
I can just imagine the smiles, the tears.
There isn't a day that we're at Hope Blooms that I don't just cry.
Yeah, we're recording this, and right here within an arm's reach for me is a box of Kleenexes.
Tissues.
Yeah, that's great.
We're always accepting donations of tissues.
That's great.
But I just think that there's something so special about
happy tears, we should say.
Yes.
Tears of joy. Yeah.
And just being able to just see someone for who they are and just saying that is enough, because I think that we all can benefit from that mission, right? And you see it on the faces. We've got this beautiful mission wall that shows some of our recipients, and you see it on their faces, and it's just it's something that I can't describe, but the heart knows when you see it immediately. So,
well, and that's the thing that I guess I didn't really fully realize, but knowing what you do, but I never really thought. I thought it's like you have the flowers, you bring the flowers, but it really is the interaction.
Correct.
That is really such a big part of this too. The flowers you'll leave there with the person, but you have that interaction. And for some people, like you said, people who are dealing with isolation, people who may be a little bit more vulnerable, for them to have somebody that they can just sit and talk to and have that interaction where there's no expectations. They don't have to bring anything to the table other than opening the door and be willing to talk.
Well, and you know what? And it's okay to just sit in the space that you're feeling, right? And, some people want to talk and some people are like, thank you, this really meant a lot to me. And they're not in the mood to visit. And we're happy we flex with that. And I just think that's the beauty in our mission, right? Like the flowers themselves are beautiful and hold special meaning, but it's really, and they're fun and they're all these things that you would describe flowers as, but like when you peel back the layers of our mission, we're creating community through those deliveries. And I just can't think of a more beautiful thing to do.
All right. Well, let's take a quick little break and we come back more with Kelly Krenzel and Hope Blooms.
Get 3 months of local news for just 99 cents a month. You'll get unlimited access to the news you need to stay engaged and connected to your community. Visit inforum.com/subscribe now to get 3 months of local news for only 99 cents a month.
Okay, we're back and we're talking with Kelly Krenzel from Hope Blooms. We're talking about the Hope Blooms operation. We're here. We're in their space in North Fargo. And you talked a little bit earlier about Hope Blooms, your superpower. Yeah. Well, superheroes always have an origin story. So what's the origin story of Hope Blooms? Sure. How did this get started? How did this idea come out?
Well, I think at a very early age, I spent many, many summers with my grandma, my sweet grandma Frida, who is very much an inspiration to Hope Blooms. I would live with her every summer for 6 weeks every summer in Linton, North Dakota. Don't know if you know where that's at.
I do know where Linton is.
Do you know where Linton is?
That's a great community.
Yeah, both of my parents are originally from there. And I would spend 6 weeks every summer with her. And one of the things we did together was garden. She loved a good flower bed and a very large flower bed. Like they were like car lengths long. So I would start on a Monday weeding one end of the yard and then go through the whole yard. And by Friday, I would have nailed it. And then I got the weekend off and, those weedy characters, they just come back, don't they?
They have a way of doing that.
So I've always had such a deep respect and love and fondness for seniors. And then, I just feel like she stirred that servant heart in me. And then I spent almost a decade working for a local hospice organization here. And my job was to meet with people and share their story and their experience. And when you sit with someone in such a tender time in life, you realize it truly is the smallest thing that can mean so much when you're in that delicate time in life. And it was like, I just want to feel well enough to have my favorite meal with my favorite person, or to spend time in my garden, ride my lawnmower. And it just left such an imprint on my heart. And when I became a mom in late 2015, I just looked at that little boy and thought, like, what are the things and the gifts that I have that I can bring to the community? And I thought I was just going to do something nice for a while, but it kind of just snowballed. So it started out in the basement of my home, 2 sawhorses and a piece of plywood. And we're here today as a thriving nonprofit because of our community. And it's just something that we just kept working at. And we're so grateful to serve our community in this way.
Well, you talked about it a little bit earlier that so much is built on the donations of flowers. So where are the flowers? Where do they come from? How do you get the flowers in that are turned around and go back out to the community?
That's a great question. So we have some ongoing partnerships. So for example, with our local grocers, so Hornbachers and Cashwise are extremely generous to us, and we will receive donations weekly from their stores. And we have volunteers that go and pick those up. So it could be anywhere from 1 bucket to 12 buckets. So it really depends on, what are their freshness standards? Is there one flower that's bad in a dozen roses and that was being damaged out and tossed before? And we know that we can save those blooms and put them to good use. We also partner with many of our florists and our event planners, event locations, venues, for when people are having events. So you could be having a corporate get together and you've got table arrangements, or It could be your first charitable act as a married couple, to be able to donate your flowers to Hope Blooms. We also have partnerships with all of our area funeral homes as a way to honor your loved one. We would take 1 bouquet. We would take 10 bouquets, and that we've seen people actually come in and repurpose their loved ones' flowers and like just become this like moment of like healing and sharing stories and laughing and crying. And it's quite beautiful. And then we also have a whole host of gardeners who donate to us throughout the growing season. So,
well, do you take plants as well? Because like we were talking about or thinking about, with funerals, a lot of times you get Easter lilies.
Yes.
Something like that. Or because this time of the year, you're seeing a lot of poinsettias.
Yeah.
And especially if you have those in a corporate situation where maybe they don't need those around over Christmas break. Yeah. Do you take plants like that too?
We unfortunately do not, because it has to be a good cut flower, so like a poinsettia, like once it's like cut off the stem isn't really going to survive, or like a lily or something like that. And we don't unfortunately have like a ton of windows here, which is why it has to be so bright and vibrant in here.
It's very colorful.
It's a beautiful space.
So, but I know there's lots of other good places you can rehome those plants. So yeah.
Oh,
so when you get the flowers here, donated here, then tell us, where do you go from there? I mean, how do you put them together, repurpose? Who does it?
So that is a wonderful question. So we have about 3,500 volunteers that help support our organization on an ongoing, like throughout the year. So it could be anywhere from a one-time volunteer to our core group of volunteers that we see daily, weekly, monthly. And so we're very, very focused on really driving that community engagement. And so we have open volunteer opportunities on our website, and people will sign up for those. And when you come in, you get to experience a little bit of everything. So of course, everyone wants to work with the flowers. That's the really fun and beautiful part of our mission. But it takes a whole lot of hands, probably 10 sets of hands from start to finish to get those into the receiver's hand. And so we set up little stations. So you get to do everything from washing jars to helping us prepare our delivery boxes to cutting applying the tags and to things like that, helping clean the shop, and of course doing bouquets.
And my wife Mary was a florist by training, and so this is near and dear to my heart. And so anyway, do you kind of give like a new volunteer kind of some guidelines as to how to design, how to put them together?
Yeah. So everyone that comes in gets a little tour, and then we do it together. And so we'll give a little tutorial. And I am not a florist. I have had no professional training, but I had a heart to serve and a vast love of repurposing and thrifting or whatever. So like to be able to save things and make anew is really important to me. And so I got some tips from a florist friend of mine, Christy from Love Always Floral, is one of my good friends. So she kind of gave me some very basics, and we've carried those on, through our mission, and we do a little tutorial, make it very accessible. And I always say, if you like it, someone else will like it too, right? So it's not about professional floral design. It's about you being able to infuse a sense of belonging and joy. And that happens every single time. I've never had somebody reject a flower bouquet.
Sure. What's the most common type of flower that you get donated, out of curiosity?
I would say we get a lot of carnations and daisies.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And they keep nicely also.
Yeah.
So they last long in a bouquet.
Yeah. It kind of all depends, as you know, like on the life cycle of that particular flower.
And they're happy flowers.
And when they've been donated.
Daisies, they're happy flowers.
We receive everything from like Christmas greens to, to beautiful roses. It really just depends on what that donation has. And then we use a pint size mason jar or a recycled food jar of a similar size. So we accept donations of jars year round. We have a patio box right outside of our door, easy drop off. And then we reuse those as many times as we can. So a lot of the places, if it's not someone, like if we're going to deliver at, for example, Prairie St. John's, we can't use glass and we will not likely get that container back. So we use a little plastic economical spice jar looking thing that you can get a pretty hefty bouquet in. But then if we're going to like our senior facilities, we'll go and be able to recycle those jars back.
So you get those jars back again. Oh, sure.
And we wash them.
And canning jars, mason jars, they make a beautiful floral container.
And then that way we can kind of decide what will this donation of flowers yield as far as bouquet. Then you're also making similar sized. I'm not going to tell Janice why hers is smaller than Denise's. We want to deliver the same amount of joy to everyone.
Sure, and using the similar containers helps the bouquets to be similar size.
Are there flowers that I like? I like lilies. Sam, my girlfriend, does not like lilies. My mom does not like lilies, so I know not to give them lilies. Yeah. Are there flowers that you try to avoid?
We are grateful for any flowers that we receive, and it really just depends on what is the life cycle of that particular donation. And
so, I love the fragrance of a stargazer lily, but that will be totally too strong for some.
Yeah. When we do have some of the tips, like take the little, see, this is bad, or the stamen off.
The little yellow stamens off.
Yeah. Sure. Is that the right term? Yeah. But right. So then they're less fragrant. They last a little longer, things like that.
How about, you said that you'll get donations from local gardeners. What kind of local things do people bring? What flowers do local gardeners bring in? What are the popular ones there?
Well, anything from gladiolas. We have one couple, just so sweet. They travel from Hunter during the summer. I would say once or twice a week, and they have expanded their garden. They started out delivering or donating glads to us, and now, I'm like, please stop cutting stuff out of the ditches. Like, I just don't want you to roll an ankle. But like, they're just like so energized by our mission, anything from that to scabiosa, to zinnias is a great cut flower, to black-eyed Susans, really kind of you name it. And lots of filler stuff is good for us as well.
What type of fillers?
Like Status is a great filler. Some people grow eucalyptus. We'll take sedum. The sky's kind of the limit.
Yeah. So if a gardener does have something they'd like to donate,
dahlias,
they can contact you.
They can. Yes. We have a flower donation form right on our website. Yeah. And so we have all those donations come here because we are being reached out to gratefully by so many different individuals. So
just we'll get it in quick since you mentioned it. What is the website?
It's hopeblooms.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or this time of the year, what you talked about, carnations are usually very popular. Or do you see seasonally, like here in the winter, do you see a different kind of flower that's donated more that you work with more?
We see the greens change the most then. Yeah. So we'll get different, whether it's spruce or, fir, like the different types of greenery changes throughout the year. Yeah.
So with that, I guess, and I'm just wondering, because you think of those greens and the spruce and the fir, sometimes people incorporate things that are not flowers, like pine cones or something like that. Yeah. Do you use those? Are those something that you would accept as a donation too, or is it something you don't use as much?
We try, we try to limit those sorts of donations. So if it's coming in a bouquet that we're receiving from our grocers, then we'll try to find a way to repurpose that outside of delivering our regular bouquets. We have a monthly class that we can chat about. So we try to reuse some of those materials then, but we accept donations of cleaning supplies and of flowers, of course, garbage bags. If you can imagine, all this joy gets to be messy business.
How do you cover the flowers this time of year? Of course, they need to be covered as they go out in frigid temperatures. How do you cover those?
We use plastic bags. Yep.
So I suppose those could be a donation item also.
Like on a roll. Yep. And so, but a lot of times if it's being donated, the bags come with it.
Oh, sure. With
the
flowers,
shops.
Sure.
So then we reuse all of those things. But we also take donations we have an Amazon wish list. So lots of different donations of supplies and jars, of course. And so twine and things like that.
Sure. And you showed me inside the cooler that you've got. So you've got a good facility to keep things fresh in the meantime while you're repurposing.
We do. Yep. So everything that comes in gets processed almost right away, and it gets a fresh cut, and anything that would be not savable, then we, get rid of it at that point, get in some fresh water with some flower food. And I'd say every about week and a half or less, that cooler is completely turned over.
Oh, and you even use some of the flower food, some of the floral preservative?
Yes, so we save all of that. And then that's one of the jobs you get to help us with when you come in and volunteer is cutting the little food packets and putting them in a big bucket so we can get them in our water mixture. So nothing goes to waste at Hope Blooms that we can prevent.
All right, let's take another quick break. When we come back, more with Kelly Krenzel and Hope Blooms.
If you're loving this podcast, be sure to check out our full lineup. From news and local politics to sports and true crime, find your next great listen right now at inforum.com/podcasts. That's inforum.com/podcasts.
All right, we're back with Kelly Krenzel and Hope Blooms, and we've been talking about the operation here. Is there a busy time of the year for you, or is it, because I know this is year round?
It is. We are honestly busy all year round. We deliver about around 20,000 bouquets a year, and we accept flower donations throughout the year. And the only thing that changes in our operation is having to cover those flowers up. So we are, bringing joy and creating community year round.
Well, and you just saying that you're able to do more of that because you are able to, now you're growing some of your own flowers.
Yes.
Talk about that, how'd that come together?
So we are just over the moon to be able to have our very own raised garden beds. This spring was the first time we had them. So we have 10 fairly decent sized garden beds, and we had on another project had established a relationship with the Richland 44 FFA, and they were so generous to donate all of the supplies, all the pre-treated lumber, and then actually come on site this spring to build them for Hope Blooms. And it was just so fun to listen to the kids and just feel their excitement, just because they knew how much it would mean to us. And then we had Baker Garden and Gift here in town actually donated all of the seedlings for us. And we had some other sponsors that helped us really fully bring that project to life. And it was incredible. Another thing for volunteers to have a hands-on experience with at Hope Blooms. And then also to just keep cutting the gift that keeps on giving, right? Some of those.
Was there a flower type that yielded the best flowers, the most flowers for you?
Zinnias.
Sure.
They're so special. And we see that when we bring garden flowers
and
out.
they last so long too.
They do. And we notice a huge difference when we actually bring garden flowers out because half of who we serve are our seniors. And so you think about in a largely rural state like ours, you age away from many things. You age away from your home, your community, you age away from beloved things like your garden. So being able to bring that out and we'll, knock on someone's door and they're like, that is the flower that my wife grew or my mom loved those, so I talk a little bit about triggering memories and there's just something irreplaceable about being able to bring those special garden flowers to someone and have their whole demeanor change because it connected to their heart. So
it does really sound that the picture you're painting, the story you're telling, really it is it's donor driven and it's volunteer driven, isn't it? I mean, those are such you can't do this without that.
Absolutely not. I really like to think about Hope Blooms as our love letter to the community, but it is for the community, by the community. And we are 100% community funded in all of our monetary support, of course, and then also all of the donated goods that we use and reuse on an ongoing basis. And so that support has been invaluable, and the reason that we're able to deliver countless smiles and give, hugs and create that sense of belonging, because our community is showing up for us, and they're a part of it.
Well, one of those big community days is coming up, probably faster than we even think about. But Giving Hearts Day, how big of an event is Giving Hearts Day for you?
Giving Hearts Day is our most significant opportunity to raise, the most funds that we need to just operate on an ongoing basis. And so, of course, we accept donated goods year round, but it takes a lot more than that to run an operation like Hope Blooms. And we like to think of those donations as high impact dollars because we are so clever about reusing as many things as possible. So, those deliberate acts of generosity are going to go much further.
Well, I'm glad Giving Hearts Day is a good fundraiser for you because, in addition to the flowers donation, the other donations, a person needs actual cash, too, to make all this flow, too. A person can't go totally on donations. Yeah. So I'm happy that is being well given.
Yes.
What a wonderful way.
Well, you offer
contribute.
some events and some classes, too. Do you have anything coming up within the next couple of weeks or the next months or so?
We sure do. And so every month we actually have what we like to call our handmade series. It's a maker series. So we offer some clever DIY flower related projects. So sometimes it has actual flowers. Sometimes we're doing something like flower felting or flower pounding or doing watercolor flowers, some element of floral. And people take those classes and we do a DIY sort of project using things that have been donated to us. And then you get to leave with that project. And then all the proceeds come back monthly then and benefit our mission. Great opportunity to just get out of the house and do something for a little bit of time. And then we also have another event, a big fundraiser coming up called Petals for a Purpose on April 10th. And that's a great way to introduce new people to our mission. And it's not like a gala, it's like a social, and it's lots of vibrancy and fellowship, and then an opportunity to create an immeasurable impact in our work.
Well, and I should say too that while the goal of this is to bring bouquets out to the community, there are opportunities throughout the year where somebody like myself can buy a bouquet for myself or to give away, but you do the bouquets around Halloween, which I thought was a hoot. And that was great. I've taken advantage of that a couple times.
Yeah. So because our flowers are donated, we are very, we try to be really careful and really respectful of our flower partnerships. Halloween, generally speaking, is not a floral holiday. And so it's an opportunity to do, we have a bouquet, because we love a good pun around here, fundraiser, and it's an opportunity to do really what's reverse trick-or-treating. So in a holiday where you get, you can just surprise someone with this like cute little doorstop Halloween themed bouquet. So that's the one time of year that we do a little fundraiser with our flowers.
That's really great. Kelly, let's take a look around the place and you can kind of show off some of the aspects and where things get done around here.
Yes, I would love that.
You've got a huge walk-in cooler here.
Yes, we are so lucky. We've had this now for about 3 years, and it was through granting funds from a couple of our supporters, which has been a complete game changer. So I want to show you, it says right here, filled with joy, and you'll understand when you see inside.
Oh, Lord, it is nice.
I see roses, and I see daisies, and I see mums. I see lots of greenery.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at the white carnations, white mums.
Beautiful. Wow. Every shade of the rainbow in here, and lots of different, lots of
breath
texture.
Well, you've also got it very clearly labeled, so newest flowers, days of the week, so you kind of know where you should be working here.
Yep, our flowers come in and then they get processed in the order they were received and then also used in. So like first in, first out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. So this is where all of our flowers that need to be processed and that we use to create the bouquets are stored. And then volunteers will come in, and we've got these workbenches, as you can see here. And that's where all the magic happens, where we build all of our bouquets and things like that. And then we actually have this other cooler that we just received funding for this year. And throughout the entire week, so our last delivery just went out, but throughout the entire week, it's completely full of flowers that go out for deliveries that are packed up and ready to go. And I do have to point out right behind you might not have seen, look at everybody gets an opportunity to wear an apron because this much joy gets a little messy. And this is our moments of joy that we've created since our founding. So we're getting very close to 100,000 moments of joy.
Wow, 96,741.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Those are individual bouquets that you've taken.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So really special. We like to really just think about that. Like I said earlier, it's that many smiles, that many hugs, right? That sense of belonging. This is our mission wall, and I just have to point out my grandma. This is Grandma Frida.
Okay.
This is how she used to dress me when I was at her house. So
you're holding a rose in your mouth, yes, and you've got even a floral shirt on and a big hat, a big straw hat.
Yeah,
man, you were a garden, garden.
Sorry. Was I the original pioneer woman?
Yes,
we don't
yes.
know. That is trademarked. Yes. So, but yeah, I mean, you look at this, her bright and beaming smile, and that pretty much tells you everything you need to know about what I got to spend my summers with.
You definitely inherited your joy from her, didn't you?
I 100% did. She's holding a little thing here that says, "I love you," a bushel and a peck and a hug around the neck. So I also get my hugging, I think, from her.
Her beaming smile is
Yes.
beautiful. I can picture her in a flower garden.
Yes. She was also a very good supervisor of the weeding I was doing.
Yep.
So, yes.
Very important.
This wall right here is all, it really shows and demonstrates the partnerships that we have and talks a little bit more about the two programs that we have. So we talked a lot extensively about our Pedal It Forward program, where we go and knock on someone's door and deliver a completed bouquet. Well, we also have a program called our Flower and Power program, and that is where we will actually take the activity out to those we serve, and then we create side by side. It's like a 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 ratio usually. We create the bouquet together. And it's just when you're working with your hands and you're in this close proximity, it just creates a different sort of connection, a different sort of like intimacy. I want to share a special story about our Flower and Power program, because we're serving both men and women. And so we were out at a senior facility here in town, and Lawrence was a little bit hesitant to participate. We set up this big activity, and there was about 20 people around the table, and we finally convinced him to come out of his room. He was really looking around, and we said, "You want to be out here doing this?" And so he pulled up in his wheelchair, and he pulled out his phone, and he started going through his phone, and eventually landed on the last bouquet he had given his wife before she had passed. And he said, "Can we make this today?" And so our volunteers worked with him so hard to be able to create that physical form of love, right? That reminded him of his wife, and then gave Lawrence an opportunity to just share stories about her. Like, when are you just going to bring that up, right? And so we could ask him questions about our wife and just create this beautiful memory with him, and then recreate that bouquet. And then he got to take that back to his room to enjoy for a week or two. And so I think he'll come back and do it again. He was a little hesitant, but like, those are the sorts of moments that I don't even really know how to articulate, like, how much that can mean to someone. This is from Cindy, who received a bouquet at Lakeland Mental Health. She was there receiving services. I was so happy to see all the fresh flowers at Lakeland one day. I was having a really rough and sad time. The flowers made me smile, as I love flowers. Then they said I could take one home. I got the biggest smile, and they helped my heart and my head. They made my week. Thanks again, Cindy. There are few things sweeter in life than a handwritten note. And so we give people an opportunity to send a kind note here at Hope Blooms, and we call that joy mail. So you fill out your little bit of joy mail here, and you drop it right into the mailbox, and Hope Blooms will mail that for you. So yeah, we have a little flower market in Hope Blooms where we've got all kinds of DIY kits, homemade bath salts, different floral themed items that we sell, and then the portion of those proceeds then come back and benefit our mission.
Well, and then for somebody, not only that, but just for somebody to really take the time to write you back, that's got to be a kind of a payment back for you. I mean, that's got to feel so rewarding, just to not only to, you've been through the experience and you know it, but then to get something back. It's always so nice to get something back, like a letter.
Right. And one thing that we have seen a lot is like sometimes it'll be like several years. And it's like when someone's life has calm down. So for example, just not too long ago, we got a note from a mother who had received a bouquet. Her son, right around Christmas time, was having treatments at Roger Maris Cancer Center. And she said he got into his room and Hope Blooms had been there that day. And so there was a bouquet waiting for her there. And so, her son was quite young at the time. And so obviously a very difficult time in their lives. And it had been several years, and it was starting to be that time. And it reminded her to reach out and just say, you have no idea the impact that small act of kindness made for me, because we were going through such a difficult time. So we hear about it sometimes way later.
So here we're at the Volunteer Joy Makers Wall, and there are, I don't even want to count how many. There's well over 100 pictures here. So these are all volunteers?
Yeah, so when you come into Hope Blooms, number one, we call all of our volunteers joy makers, because that's, essentially what they are helping us create, is that sense of joy. But you have an opportunity to add yourself to the wall. We have a little Polaroid camera here, and that's really fun. It's very fun to watch people come in and say, oh my gosh, I know that person. Or, one time I was giving a tour, and this beautiful lady here was someone's grandma, and she was just brought to tears and just said, she had since passed. And so for her, she just felt like she was meant to be here at that time. It was the very first time she was ever here. She happened to notice her grandma on the wall, and so it was really special.
Take another look into this room back here, because as gardeners, we always love seeing people. We love seeing the gardeners, but then also how things come together. And so this room is kind of like for lack of a term, this is like your shop here, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Like command central, kind of like the necessary work. But we have here, if you see, like donations of jars, like big bins of jars. They come in, they get washed. The labels get taken off. All of our recycling, we try to recycle as many things as possible.
And florist buckets. I see lots of florist buckets.
Lots of florist buckets. So we do our best to try to recycle. Like when we get funeral arrangements, for example, you see these here. These are boxes of vases for, where funeral arrangements came in. We try to recycle those back to all of our florists. Okay. So when someone is dropping off, flowers from our grocers, then we have them take a box back and try to, support them back however we can. But you can see here, we've got a nice huge sink.
Yeah.
We've got, our dump buckets and all of that. So it's a lot going on now. We have a dishwasher here that's, unloaded multiple times a day. And
I suppose you're cleaning vases all the time, washing things out.
Yep, exactly. And so really this holds like all the stuff we need to create the magic.
You've got this huge, when people walk in, they see this big sign, Joy Starts Here. I mean, you've got color packed in here. I mean, let's face it, this is a shop that was designed to be, whether a storage, like some kind of a construction shop or something like that. You've got so much more color here that I think the people who built this ever thought would be here. But you've got this huge wall with this great mural here, all these different flowers illustrated there. But then in front of them, you've got these beautiful pink Christmas trees. So talk a little bit about what this was all about.
Yeah. So, one thing that people really love to be able to document their experience here at Hope Blooms. And so just giving people we built these nice platforms here. We got some carpet donated, just a nice spot where people can take a picture and just be, show the work that they're involved in the community. But we do love a good, it's holiday season. We love a good Christmas tree, and we love creativity. And so just trying to find different ways to bring that alive and give people something fun to look at every time they're in here. Something's different. But yeah, so what's really cool about our mural is that was designed by a local, she's actually the art director over at Enclave. Her name is Shelby Zach, and she designed that on the computer and projected it on the wall and traced it. And then she did like a paint by number. So we had lots of people come and contribute and paint different aspects of the mural wall. So that's really fun. Yeah.
My grandkids would love coming in here. We need them sitting here taking a picture.
Yes, you do. You bring them back, Don, and they can get a photo anytime. Yeah.
All right, Kelly, it's been so great to be here today. It's so much fun. And this is, look, while I knew of the operation, I didn't know everything. And so this is great. This is eye-opening for me. This is so much fun, and it's a great space here. So thank you for having us out.
Thank you so much for coming. I love the opportunity to get to spend a little time with some other flower friends and people who really appreciate the beauty that we're trying to do.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. I've been in an especially good mood ever since I came.
It's hard not to be here.
Yeah,
It's so
Hope Blooms has put me in an exceptionally good mood today. You guys do such great work. And thank you for joining us.
We'll see more of you in the new year.
I can't wait.
All right. And Don, if people have questions for you or people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach you?
Send me an email, donald.kinsler, KINZLER, @ndsu.edu. And it's always great to hear from everyone.
All right. Take care.